You
Yeah.
also did a YouTube video about why you shouldn't walk your dog. Surely
Yeah.
a lot of people think, oh, it's quite counterintuitive, that, Charlie. What do you mean by
Yeah.
when you say you shouldn't walk
One of the comments, I've had a few comments. Most of the comments I get on my YouTube channel are great, really positive. People still saying thanks very much, is so helpful. And then you always get a few that aren't, and we've had some absolute corkers. One of them, I think it was to that video was just, this guy's an idiot, which I just thought was fun.
a
I just thought that was fantastic that someone just wrote, this guy's an idiot. I'm like, I love that. I think that's fab. But what I meant by that was, and if you know, in the video it sort of does I do kind of elaborate, but what I meant by that was, if you everyone has this preconceived idea that it's a dog, it needs walking. So the first thing they do, especially with like working breeds, gun dogs, you know, of all breeds, they're like, oh, it's a spaniel, it needs lots of exercise. And so all they do is they instantly take their dog out and completely overexpose it to so many environments, so many different things, without having any rules or any control over them. So they're putting them in these situations that the dog just isn't capable of dealing with. And we always use when we're explaining dog training to someone, we always use learning to drive as one of the examples. And the reason we do that is because most people who've got a dog have learned to drive. So it's kind of something they can remember and relate to. So if you buy a 17-year-old, you know, a Porsche 911, and you let them loose on it, you know, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, there's a few of them, I'm sure, who might not even get in it because they'll be like, oh my god, I don't trust myself, or I'm scared or whatever. But there's going to be quite a lot of boys, and I would have been one of them, that would have been like, cool, and bang, smash, you know, dead, seriously injured, written off car. You know, there's nothing good is going to come of that. Okay, and that's what happens with people with their, and particularly we see these days, Cocker Spaniels. They go out into the woods or into the field and they just let their dog go. And it is literally like handing the key. And this is an untrained dog. This is a 6-month-old dog, or a 10-month-old dog. It doesn't really matter, but they've normally started when they're quite young. And they take their dog out and they let them go. And then they just sort of hope it's all going to work. And it's like, well, what? That's like handing a keys to a Porsche 911 to a 17-year-old and hoping it's going to work. Well, fingers crossed they come back alive. You know, and that it's just, so don't do it. And so don't hand the keys to the kid until they've learned how to drive and they're really, really efficient. Don't hand the freedom to the dog until they've learned how to behave and they've learned how to come back. Because you don't learn by internally failing. You know, a brain surgeon, when someone's trained to be a brain surgeon, they're not given a scalpel. Oh, right, there you go, cut that. Oh, you killed him. Oh, well, here's the next one. Try again. Oh, you've killed him. Oh, there's the next one. It's ridiculous. You're laughing because you're like, it's ridiculous. But that's what people do with their dogs. They're like, oh, I'll take them off. Oh, they're not coming back. Oh, I'll let them off again. Oh, they're not coming back. Oh, I'll let them off again. Oh, they're chasing a deer and not coming back. Oh, I'll let them off again. Oh, they killed a sheep and not coming back. It's like, at what point does that, you know, compute to people? It's like, there's something you're doing isn't quite right. And if you look at all the people with good dogs, they drip feed their freedom. And they drip feed them. And I, to quote somebody else that I listen to, you know, that when you're bringing up a child, they're on a rope. Okay. And the older your child gets and the more trust you have in them, the more you let the rope go. And eventually you curl up the rope and you hand it to them and go, pat them on the back, say, I've done my job. Now it's your turn. Okay. And that's basically what we do with the dog. We allow them more and more freedom as they show they're capable of it. And then as soon as they show any sort of like, oh, I'm going to screw this up, we rein them back in again and start drip feeding them. So when I say don't walk your dog, what I mean is basically don't walk your dog when in situations that you shouldn't be in with that dog at that level of training. And don't feel that is the priority for the dog. The priority is to get the dog trained. The dog is not going to die if it doesn't go for dog walks, but it is going to die if you don't train it, because it's going to get run over. It's going to get shot by a farmer. It's going to do something stupid. It's going to be put down because it attacked someone. You know, whatever. There's so many options for that dog to have to be, you know, euthanized for whatever reason because you haven't trained it how to do it. If that little rant hopefully answers your question.